Hey, when I was growing up, we lived next to this big family, the Colvins. They had like 6 kids, and the kid closest to my age was this little girl, Paula. And she's a cute little blonde, and usually had yellow ribbons in her hair. And, you know, we played kid stuff like hide and go seek and cowboys and Indians, and we played chutes and ladders and Candyland and that stuff. She tried to teach me how to play jacks, which I never could figure out. Just little kid stuff. When I was 8, we moved away, and kind of thought that was the end of that. But during the ensuing years, my parents stayed in touch with the Colvins. Every so often I'd hear them on the phone with them, or at dinner time they'd talk about a letter that they'd gotten from them or something else they had heard, and I kind of kept up with what was happening with the kids. So fast forward, came home from college, spring break my sophomore year. My father was at dinner one night, says, "Hey, what would you think about going to Jamaica the week after you get out of school?" I said, "Sign me up." He said, "Well, you remember the Colvins?" And I said, "Well, sure." He said, "Well, their daughter and 4 of her girlfriends, they want to do an island vacation. And the parents called me up and asked for a recommendation about where to send them. And they're a little bit nervous about the 4 girls coming to, you know, heading down island unaccompanied." So they said, "I got to thinking, we haven't been down in a while." And so I made a reservation. I got us 2 cottages at the Hackton House, which was on a mountain overlooking this beautiful beach in Montego Bay in Jamaica. So he said, "You think you're up for being a tour guide for 4 college girls?" I said, "Sure, Pop, sign me up." So school lets out, and we fly down to Montego Bay. We get squared away in our cottage, and the next day, my father gives me a wad of money, and he says, "Here, get a cab, and go pick the girls up." I said, "Well, what do they look like? What am I looking for?" He said, "Just look for 4 girls." He said, "You'll figure it out." So I get a cab, and so now my cab friend Doris and I are heading to Montego Bay Airport. He says, "Now, Mont, you don't be knowing what none of these girls look like." I said, "No, not really." He said, "They could be fat, they could be ugly, they'd be big trouble." I said, "Doris, I don't think so. I remember a little girl I knew, Paula, she was just a nice little girl." He said, "Okay, Mom, we see." So we park the car, we get to Montego Bay Airport, which at that time was a collection of grass shacks. Plane comes in, and they roll this rickety staircase out to the plane, and passengers start to come off. Something happened over this way. I'm kind of looking around, and all of a sudden Doris is punching me. He says, Boss, look at this." And coming down the stairway was Paula Colvin. She was a beautiful blonde woman. And I just knew when I saw her, there was just enough of a spark of memory, and a kind of special little moment. So they had to clear immigration and customs and stuff, so we met them coming out, and I walked up to the group, and I kind of smiled, and I said, "Hey," and Paula looked at me, and she said, "Well, hey, Ralph." So we kind of giggled for a moment, and she introduced me to the 3 girls. Then Doris starts in with, "I am the best cab driver tour guide in all of Montego Bay. I'm going to take you everywhere." So we get the girls squared away at the Hackton House, and come to find out, Paula is going to get married at the end of summer before she goes back to school. And a couple of girls let on that they were not really thrilled with her choice of fiance. Well, for the next week, Doris took us to Ocho Rios and Dunn River Falls, if any of you have ever been to Montego Bay. And we took another trip in the other direction. We went to Lucia and saw this fort, and went to a plantation and that stuff. And we went clubbing 2 nights. We went downtown Montego Bay to the Hummingbird Club, and it was crazy. There was like 2 other white people there, the 5 of us, and then just a bunch of black people, and they were just dancing and having a big time. The girls were dancing with the locals. They were buying us rum and drinks, and we had a great time. So it comes time for last night, and turns out there was a beach party just across the street from the resort. So we all walked over, and they had a fire, and there's a little calypso band, and they're cooking jerk chicken and other kind of food and stuff, and we're drinking rum punch like crazy. And somehow Paula and I entered this three-legged race, and we won, and they gave us a bottle of Edwin Charlie's rum. So we're all passing this bottle of rum around and getting trashed and having a big time. And at some point, Paula and I went down to the shoreline, and we're just kind of sitting there with our feet in the water and chatting, and bit by bit, everybody left until it was just the two of us. And you know, there's that big Caribbean moon and the stars, and it's the last night and the beach and the rum, and well, we wound up in the water, and you know. So next morning, there's a lot of winks and giggles, and I definitely got the evil eye from my mother. We had breakfast, and we got Doris back, and the girls got packed up. We took all their gear and put it in a cab, and they got in the cab, and I walked Paula to her door, and she kind of turned around, looked at me, and gave me this wistful smile, and she said, "Bye." And that's the last time I saw her. So this is a song about a guy who's sitting on a beach, kind of like this one, thinking about a girl he knew and wondering what it would have been like.
I sat there on the coast of Marseille. My thoughts came by like wind through my hair. How could it be to feel here again? How could it be to feel that way again? Now would you be remembering me? I asked that question time and again. The answer came haunted me so. I would not want to think it again. No, I would not want to think it again. You make it so hard to forget. I haven't stopped loving you yet. You make it so hard to forget. I haven't stopped loving you yet. When I left the coast of Marseille, I hadn't done what I'd come to do. I spend all the money I'd save